So, what we're going to cover today, a bit about the media, the source of much evil. What actually happened to interest rates, and what are some of the many things you can do if you are actually worried, and who should worry and who shouldn't. So, of course, these articles come pouring out. This authority, Sarah here, house prices to plummet as huge interest rate increase expected. So, and Terry and I were just waffling on about this. Terry, give them your view. Come on. I know you're busting too.
Well, I mean, this headline and article probably encapsulates the general media stance, isn't it? We've had for 10 years, we've had record low interest rates. We haven't had an interest rate rise in that time. So we've got to this point where we've been for some time at record low interest rates. And now we've had one small rise, maybe some more to come. And according to mainstream media, that's pretty much the end of everything. House prices to plummet, huge interest rate increase expected. Well, none of those things are reality. Media loves to speculate. They love to indulge in negative sensation, particularly about house prices. Right now,
talking about why they write these headlines, because that's all people are reading, isn't it?
Well, it's all about generation of clickbait. I mean, to me, media these days is about inducing people to click on a headline, because a lot of people read media these days online. So if media can get you, the consumer, to click on a headline and go through to read the article, then they've achieved their objective. And the objective is achieved most readily by a headline that screams negative, crisis. And we're getting that with the housing market constantly. And very often it's dishonest. In fact, we're researching media all day, every day as part of what we do, collecting information amongst the sensation. And what we find is that quite often the headline is a lie. It doesn't actually accurately reflect the content of the article, because the objective is just to get you to click on it. And
so it doesn't. Even you'll say that's the headline, then you'll read into it, and then you go, "Oh, that's not what they said at all."
Well, that's not the headline makes a claim that quite often isn't supported by the information in the article. But at the very least, the headline is very often a sensationalisation of the content of the article and taking a very negative view. An example of that, I saw on our daily research yesterday an article which was in one of the Fairfax newspapers, which was probably the most negative media source about the housing market constantly. And it was about the Canberra market. And what the data showed was that there are over 100 suburbs in Canberra, and all of them had produced price growth in the last quarter, except 3. So what did they write their article about? They wrote the article about the 3 suburbs where prices had fallen and ignored the 100 and whatever suburbs where prices were still rising at quite impressive rates. The Canberra market's very strong at the moment. We're still seeing very good price growth there. Yeah. But that's the media mentality. They'll search for a great pile of positives until they find the negative, and they'll focus on that, and then they'll sensationalise it. So we get headlines like house prices to plummet as huge interest rate increase expected. Yeah.
So that's why I suggest, do you know of Tom O'Toole? Terry, do you know Tom?
I don't know Tom O'Toole, but he looks like someone I might like.
I think you'd love him, actually. Tom is actually the Beechworth baker. He owned the bakery in Beechworth, and then went on to create a chain of these Beechworth bakeries across country Victoria, and he's done an incredible job. But one of his messages is he's into small business and, creating all that sort of stuff. But one of his messages when he does a keynote was about the problem when his wife left him with all these kids, and he was trying to watch the news, and how, unhappy he was. And he was saying, you shouldn't watch the news, was his message. But how he put it was this, so you won't forget. He said, you wouldn't let someone come into your lounge room and crap on the floor, so why do you turn on the TV and let them crap in your brain? So, and I just love that quote, because he's like, this is the way, don't listen to the news. That's what he's saying. And
look, he's absolutely right. And I think this pertains to property investment, the housing market, and consumers who are interested in it or involved in it, more so than anywhere else. People often ask me for, what's the secret to success in property investment. I say, well, here are the rules. Rule 1, stop reading newspapers. And people sort of titter because they think I'm sort of being...
Or they Google themselves to death. That's the other thing.
But I'm deadly serious. If you want to do well in the housing market as property investors, the first thing you've got to do is just tune out all the white noise in media, because you're not going to get any useful information from it. You're going to be misinformed, and you'll probably allow the negative sensation, which is a constant diet in media, to affect your perception of how things are and cause you to make bad decisions, or cause you to make no decisions, make the decision to do nothing because you're expecting prices to fall everywhere. That was the case 2 years ago when COVID struck. Media was full of articles every day saying prices are going to fall 15%, 20%. Commonwealth Bank's worst case scenario was 33% drop in property prices. Never happened, not only in the history of Australia, but in the history of the world. And I mean that quite seriously. There's never been an instance anywhere that I know of where prices have fallen that much. Well, what we actually got in 2020 was actually price rises and the beginnings of a property boom. They got it so utterly wrong. So there's really nothing to be gained by